There are two things that you have to realize when it comes to trading Bitcoin or any market for that matter. The first thing is you cannot make tangible money that would be seen as a living money or nice bonus money if you don't use leverage, or if you don't have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions. I would imagine for most folks it's 100,000 is a good middle ground working force capital. The second thing is you cannot trade everything that you see on the chart. Meaning you have to be very selective in terms of what kind of trades you take. And more than that, you have to skip 80% of the setups and only go for the ones that are 100% guaranteed. In order to find those setups, you have to use a system. A system that provides you with clear, defined rules for exits, stop losses, as well as timing for your trades. MarketSpy is one such system that I'm aware of that does this for you. Here we have two yellow lines, one over here, one over here. The day has just begun, and I decided to skip a live stream and just get in here and trade this setup. And this is a setup. We have momentum going up. We have our new day open at the yellow, and we trade in the direction of the open. And the compression here on this price is so thin that I could potentially hold on to this and make a lot of money if directionality plays out to the upside from here. Now there are two things once again that are happening here. One, we have been dumping for a whole week. It is the weekend. There's lots of fear in the market, but also speculation that maybe it is time to buy at the end of the week. Maybe, I don't know. But since we have been falling and we have started to creep up a little bit, and the new open is above the previous open, we can assume the price is going to go up. Now this is a super high probability setup, and don't ask me how I know, but I just know based on the indicator. Not only do we have strong indication that there is a potential reversal in the making, the pivot open is respected. We're already up by a little bit, 291, and this is typically what you would expect with a 80 to 100K account. Here's my risk management. Pain, let's stop calling it pain. This is the new tactics trading terminal, and we call it risk management. Simply, the toggle, risk management. You really need to have a place or a person who knows what they're doing, a community that are on the same page in order to make this happen. In order to be profitable as a trader and in order to find profitable setups, you really cannot ignore the fact that our system is probably your best chance at making this work. I know for a fact that you have tried 1,000 other things out there, and none of it brought you to where you want to be as a trader. And so I'm going to let this run. Again, we're not trading like the other traders where we're holding our positions indefinitely. We're intraday, we're algorithmic. The algorithm is right here. And my current setup over here is a 15-minute ATR exit, which is basically within this one single candle, I am leveraged at about 3 or 4x, I'm not sure. But this is the contract size that I'm trading. And our goal is to get to 1% for the day. And then as soon as we get that 1%, we go to our exchange, withdraw that, or sell directly to your bank and forget about it. But in order for us to even begin to think about profits, we have to think about losses. Now, typically, and this is going to be controversial, but you have to think about losses more if you have no system or your system is just general. With something like MarketSpy, you think about losses less because our setups are so high probability that you're allowed to use leverage and exit quickly on a setup that is more or less guaranteed. Now, this is a tricky part because you're always advised to trade within your means. Basically, if your size is bigger than your capital, your account, such as in this case, book publishers, gurus, and everybody else would tell you to be very careful and see, why would I hold this if we're like at 80% right here? Sorry, 0.8%. We take this box right here, close only in profit, and then we go for say 90%, and then we move the stop loss to break even. And we go short. And so those books, those gurus, those people who advise you to trade in a certain way, they have to cover their base and they will never tell you their secrets, number one, and number two, they will always try to protect themselves and say that, hey, I don't want to be responsible for your losses. So they will tell you things like, you have to always be looking forward to a profitable trade, but also keep the losses in mind, because it's all about risk management. And if you lose money, then that's on you. I lost my train of thought. What was it about trading that I wanted to mention? Yeah, so it's general advice in those books and that source material that you can find when it comes to trading education. And so you're left on your own. If you want to be following others and doing what they do, it's fine. It's up to you. But I think collectively, what makes MarketSpy is also the people that are involved. There are many professionals who have worked alongside me and others in our community to make the system be as precise as possible. But I find myself repeating often that your exits should be based on volatility. The basic tool for assessing volatility is ATR. And ATR does not rely on levels or liquidity zones or none of that. It is simply a framework for a guaranteed sort of setup that allows you to more or less time your exits precisely while others are guessing at a level, thinking where to from here. Meanwhile, you're making the most of it, and your exits are better than the next guy over there. So I tend to be very specific in terms of, I talk a lot about concepts and mental frameworks, but I'm very specific at the end of the day in terms of how you should manage your positions and what's involved. This is a risky business. If you do not know what it is that you're doing and you're not seeking guidance, you will fail. Simple as that. If you have a system, MarketSpy is a great way to get into system trading. But if you do have a system, it should be able to generate profits for you in this way. Not every day. For example, I took this trade, and that is because last night was a long night of cooking and coding for me. And I was working with the team to make this trading terminal be as polished as it could possibly be for the next release sometime next week. Oh look, we took profit, and it looks like we're at 0.78% of our account. And so I'm gonna run this video until we can get it to 1%. And so it helps if you copy something that works. I'm not talking about copy trading. I'm talking about skill. Because if I start a copy trading account and something happens to me and it's doing well, but then I disappear, I crash my bike or something, things happen, and then I'm no longer around. I won't be around with you guys, and you'll be left on your own. You have to look for another retired professional who would be willing to spend their time guiding you, educating you. And most professionals get sick of their job after a while. You would have to really try hard to find another CR out there who would sit down and break down the game plan with you together and show you how it's really done. And so these are two trades that we're looking at here. One where we were falling from the rejection point over here towards this level over here. Now PL and S1 are magnets, so you can always expect some sort of price action to take place at those levels. But look how much of we're almost at 1% of our account, and we've only traded this one little thing. So when you zoom out and you look at all this, I'm guessing what you're doing is you're trying to get in somewhere at the bottom over here. Price goes against you, and you lose hope. You need to be able to want to watch price more than you want to actually trade it. So in my case, what I'm demonstrating here, you typically only have a very short window. You see the start of the DSR indicator. This is where it ends, this is where it starts. So it's got a half a day over here. So this whole thing is 1 day. So within this window, if price is over here somewhere, it's really hard to find a trade setup. If price is down here somewhere, it's also really hard to find a trade setup. But this is a range-bound situation where you have to find a way to capture this point here, maybe this point here before a sharp reversal, maybe this point here. So you go with momentum whenever you see very strong price action, because I don't believe that, and this is from my experience only, right? What do I know? I don't believe that you can follow the advice of those professionals. Their advice is great. I want you to all remember that Jesse Livermore was and is one of the most quoted traders out there. But the guy lost everything and then committed suicide. See, now I'm gonna get demonetized on YouTube. but like I said, we're slightly different here. We tend to not care about the social norms. Yeah, social norms. And so he committed suicide and killed himself, and he ended up losing everything in the end. But yet his advice is sound. It sounds good. But you cannot apply it, can you? He couldn't. So there's got to be something in here. There needs to be a conversation. There needs to be a passionate exploration of what these markets really are. What are we dealing with here? We need to figure this out together. And so far on my journey, what I have figured out is this, what I'm sharing with you. Number one, you're not going to get far without a proper trading system. We use MarketSpy. You can use whatever you want. Number two, your trading system has to be exceptional. Number three, it has to give you three things only: timing, momentum, and stop loss and exit point visualization on the charts. It has to be precise, and it also has to be backed by a philosophy that explains what happens if your target is not met. What happens if you get stopped out? Now, speaking of stops, for those of you who have been around the channel for a long time, you already know that I have a very specific, interesting relationship with stop losses, where I don't consider myself to be a parrot as the rest, again, covering the base, right? It is very bad advice to tell someone that you don't need stop loss, but I believe a stop loss is a good thing on one hand. On the other hand, it is a recent financial product invention of recent times that was not really a thing back in the day, meaning you had to cut your losses, they would say, manually. So you had to be in control and be of the proper, correct thinking mind to be able to do that. So today, I believe that people are weak emotionally. And that's because we're being drained of our energy by society, social norms, everything, the whole package. You already know what I'm talking about. You have a suspicion, Neo. You know what I'm talking about. And if you have the ability to cut your losses manually, and with MarketSpy, it works like this. Price can wiggle for a few $100, maybe max. But and I'm just trying to draw an example here, and hopefully I can actually show it to you through my videos, through this channel, that if I get into a trade, then the reason I'm getting into it is because I'm 100%, and this sounds arrogant, sure that we're going to extract some value out of our participation in this specific instance of these price candles. I know this based on how the system works. So day open, I know I have a window. So even if this reverses from here now, not only are we locked in, there we go, we just exited our full position. So now we just need a little bit more to get us up to 1%. And this is where you start to de-risk. Because what I like to do is, whatever you risk to make, $636 over here, which, let's be honest, if you were to make that every day, that would be ridiculous. Yeah, you could put that into savings, yields, and just like forever generate money, which you should, this is how it works. Now we're gonna go to our exchange, and we're gonna take this 636 out. But now you're de-risking and you're playing with small size. Why? Because believe it or not, looking at this chart right now, as juicy as it looks to the upside, there's nothing that's in the way that's preventing this price from not running further up. And I think it will. But because we opened at the daily on the pivot, I know that price likes to spend some time deciding and testing the level. And I don't want to be tested. I don't want to be deciding myself. I want to make some money, walk away, and be done with it. And I'm sorry if this video is a little long and rambling, but this is not your typical entertainment piece or tutorial or content. This is actually a live personal take from someone who does this like you do it, I do it. We all trade these markets for the bottom line is to make money. And so I believe that spending time like this together with me, you will better understand what it is that you can do. Maybe find a different point of view, this, and start trading differently. Maybe it'll work for you, I don't know. It really depends on the person at the end of the day. It doesn't matter what system you use. Even if it's a good system, you can totally screw it up if you have no restraint, if you allow yourself to do whatever you please. That's not a good thing. But I bet that we will make a lot more than just 1% today, because the compression here is great, and all you have to do, and I'm talking to advanced users, not necessarily beginners. I'm not trying to attract beginners, but if you're a beginner, you would be wise to stick around and maybe watch some of my videos and try to understand why this is not your typical crypto channel.
Me change? Never.
Futures is another thing that I recently got into because I want to help people find avenues, ways to make the most out of their subscriptions, out of their money that they put on the line for the sake of making profit. And so if you're an intermediate or advanced trader, this is maybe a good thing to compare against whatever it is that you're doing. And maybe you can take one or two nuggets out of this and implement into your own strategy to back your own sort of ways of trading. Because if you're not a student of the market and the people in it, you're really not doing well. Spiritually, financially, and physically. They'll make you sick. The market will make you sick. So it's good to stick together and treat it as a team sport. And I'm really surprised at the level of, especially after COVID, of engagement across communities. I had the pleasure of visiting some other communities recently, and I realized that unless it's gambling, degenerate behavior, this disrespectful trash talking, there's really not that much that's going on that we don't have going on in our Discord. It's relatively quiet, and I think it's because we don't have an official sort of belief system. That is what's needed. More charts, more sharing information, more, because one guy can't really do and take care of all these things. So everybody needs to participate. It's a team sport. Trading is a team sport. That's why we have floors. That's why we have trading desks. That's why we don't, retail, their loneliness. Because they're sitting there isolated in secret, hiding from the world. That's what makes retail, and that's how you fail. Really, it comes down to this institutional environment is people. It's not algorithms, it's not capital, it's people working side by side next to each other. So you can simulate that by participating in the Discord, in the Telegram, in the community that understands this. And I do understand it, and I give you this invitation, handing it over to you directly so that you may consider adjusting your energy levels to match the market that you're trading. Bitcoin is highly energetic, very liquid, very confident. Bitcoin is just Bitcoin, and it very much is a reflection of beliefs about what Bitcoin is. And so we just understand the technicalities of movement, and movement is energy. And so I invite you to be more active, to ask more questions, to defy social norms, and I do want to tell you to stop reading news, but unless you enjoy that sort of thing, I really cannot recommend such a bizarre thing, because they probably got you addicted. And if not, you're in my camp. If you're independent, if you don't read anything that's being published online, good for you. If you don't read self-help or financial books, good for you, because I believe that you have to write your own. You have a rich history. You went through so much in this life. You have so much to share. And yet here we are thinking, what if it's a stupid question and I shouldn't be asking it? Or maybe you're thinking, man, what's the point? There's a great point in your being. There's a great point in you mastering this and getting to the bottom of things. There's profit here. This is profitable behavior, profitable ideas. Profitable in so many ways, not just financially, but so many other ways. Do not do, it says in the Book of Wisdom, that which is not profitable. Having a great attitude, smiling often is profitable. It literally communicates to your cells, your fibers, your ligaments, all of your connections in your bodies, multiple bodies, not just one body. It communicates, your attitude communicates and attracts however you program it. So, anyways, this is off topic. But in terms of price, you have to ease into it, because if I keep talking technicals and rambling about the technique, and that's all you want from me, you're never gonna make it. You're never gonna make it, because you're missing the point. You're missing the point of the community. You're missing the point of team sport. You're missing the point of the mentality. We are on a mission here at MarketSpy to destroy your character and raise your individuality. Your character is being shaped by greed. It's a characteristic. Character means fake. Character means a mask. It's a mocking of your true self. Now, your individuality here matters a lot, because our individual approach to trading this market is very different than mass adopted ideas and stuff that you see out there. Twitter is a great platform to promote and sell your products, but if you're someone like me who's not really interested in that, but you're interested in understanding how and what makes this tick, what makes this market go around, then please subscribe and like this video. Hey, I learned that I had to insert that somewhere during the recording, and so even though this has been dragging on for a long time, I just wanted you to take a look at what it is that I see. I see price creeping up. I see that we're away at the baseline. And I also see that we already made a little bit of money. And now we don't chase it, and we made some money. I guarantee you we're going to make some money tomorrow if there's a clean setup. Now you have the two GPS dots. You have the MAX 7 setting up. You're at the open. Do you need a stop loss? Not really. Can you leverage up here? Sure. Are you holding it to make your million and retire? No. You're still a day trader. And with that, you have the responsibility of exiting as soon as you're in profit. Some people say they hold their trades for longer. I like things to be grounded in reality. And the reality is, if you don't use volatility upon which the whole market is founded on to plan your trades, exit them, execute them, then you're not going to have a fun time doing this for a living. And that's all I want to say. So, how about this? I'm going to upload this video, but then later on, I'm going to continue trading throughout the day. I will come back to it. I'll see where the price is at midpoint. Take another trade, bring my account to 1%. Then I'll post it to the P&L wall on Discord and link this video to that P&L so that you can watch this video, watch the ending of it here, and say that, okay, I see what he's talking about. And I'm sure you could be holding here and making millions, but I guarantee you will lose it just as fast. Because holding is a muscle memory. And if you're holding winning trades, you're holding losers too. Trust me. Trust me, bro. You think I don't see? I see. And I want you to change that behavioral pattern. I want you to give and take humbly any sort of expectations, but I want you to only go for it when you see confirmation. Now, how would you know that? How can you fast track to it? Simply ask, hey, CR, I have this chart that I'm looking at. I am at 9 a.m. your time, Tokyo time. Because that's when the CPR opens. This is when you had the best shot. But according to our system, this is how, this is what the timing is all about. Or you're at midpoint, New York. Talk to me then. And at that moment, we can look at the charts, and I can guarantee you that you will probably make money if you simply inquire and ask what the charts are doing. But I'm not going to give you squiggly lines, maybe during live streams and just general midterm assessment, yeah. But I will not tell you get in here and exit here and hold it no matter what, like all these other price prediction channels and gurus out there. Because that is not realistic. That's not grounded in the principles of what MarketSpy is all about. But I'll tell you, the chart looks great. Now squeeze in there, find a little opening, and make the most of it. Leverage up, calculate your fees. I don't know how you're trading without a thing, what I have on the screen right now, or a trading terminal. This is Poet, rebranded, brought back to life. I lost the code, unfortunately, due to greed of certain parties involved. But humanity requires understanding of ourselves, others, and especially the market, because that's as human as it gets over here. Many of you guys believe that it's algorithmic and it's man versus machine. The only machine that we're up against is the one that makes us pay taxes. That's the only machine that we're against. This market, you better make friends with it and make it work for you, because it's a great opportunity. If you can learn this, see that fisherman right here? If you can learn how to fish on your own, then that's really all you need to put bread on your table and for your family for the rest of your life. Just don't be greedy. And you can make a couple of $1,000s a month to begin with, and you can relocate. You can be smart about things. Your dollar goes a long way. You go to Southeast Asia or something. Safe, peaceful, amazing food, beautiful, picturesque sunsets. And you know what I'm saying? There are ways to deal with this, and we have to approach this very calmly in a way that discusses more than just the technique and the price action here. We have to approach this with a goal in mind. Treat it as a team sport. Understand what the goal is, which is to make money and avoid all the BS that is out there. All the advice about trade like this, like that, those are the levels. No. Master volatility, and you won't have to worry about anything ever again. Thank you for your attention. I wish you all the best. And I'll come back to this chart in a bit. Bring it up to 1%. 1% is not, you don't have to. If this is what the market gave you, you can easily step away from this and be like, okay, we're done here. And come back to it tomorrow. This is what I typically do every day. I find my little window. All you have to do is be there on time. For me, that's 9 a.m. I drink my tea, read a book, and come back in a few hours, see what the market is doing. And if I see like it's interacting with some level and there's support for momentum, most of the setups are, even though I'm using a system, most of the setups I skip them. But I only trade something that is logically, for example, you've been falling for a whole week, you're not going to continue falling for when the new day opens, because speculators are going to think, hey, maybe we can buy. So you got to blend in with what everybody else is thinking. But the sentiment is bearish, and we continue to observe and see where Bitcoin goes. But I also have, so tactics supports spot trading. So I cast a huge ladder on my spot account, and I'm just basically, it's a $60,000 range, and I don't even look at it. It just accumulates Bitcoin. I have a little bit allocated, and as it's falling, it's just gonna, within a $60,000 range from here down to 40K, I'm buying Bitcoin. And then I'm not touching it for another couple of years and so on. But in the meantime, while that is being accumulated, I trade these setups in this manner. And look how beautiful and easy this is. You don't have to guess or do it. We're not even using our brains here. Yet there are people with like high levels of IQ that are building 200,000 plus communities. They're like, hey, this is the smartest man in the world, you should follow him. If markets were all about the smarts, we'd all be rich. Nobody's an idiot. Everybody's smart these days. So it's not about that. Thank you for watching, and thank you for being part of this community. I appreciate you guys. Until next time.